Agooo. Nuapa, listen. I say Agooo to get your attention. And if I have your attention, that you say Ameee. So I say again, Agooo. Ameee. Wonderful. Nananom say, let's talk about ancestral spirits. It's really to check to see, how do you feel whenever you hear somebody say ancestral spirits or ancestral energies or anything to do with rising the ancestral spirits? A lot of the conditioning that you're carrying make it so that hearing words like ancestral spirits or ancestral energies might make you feel uneasy, because that is not something that you think of, or that's not something that you encounter daily. That's not something that is in your living experience. So today's journey is to get you to confront how you feel when you hear the word ancestral spirits. It is nothing to be afraid of. Ancestral spirits, it is nothing to be afraid of. The journey you're on is to really peel back your conditioning so that you can see what is inside of you, which is your ancestral spirit. So you don't have to be afraid of it. You don't have to be afraid of it, because the ancestral spirits are in you. They're in you even though you don't express it in your lived experience right now, but it's there. And with the right conditions and the right moods and the right experiences, you begin to really see and feel the ancestral spirits in you. So Nananom said, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid when you hear ancestral spirits. You might feel like paying attention to words like ancestral spirits might be going against the religion that you grew up with or that you were initiated in. But it isn't. It doesn't mean that you're letting go anything that is your foundation. It just means tap into yourself. It just means tap into the ancestral spirits that's actually a part of you. So it's not something that is foreign. It is only foreign because you haven't allowed yourself to see it yet. But it's there. It's there if you allow yourself to see. There are some experiences that can enhance or hasten or be a sort of a catalyst for you to see, be able to feel your ancestral spirits within you. Like when you're in an environment where you're being immersed in ancestral ways. So it could be drumming, some specific ways of drumming that raises the spirits or raises the energies around you and in you. It could be play or music, some different types of music, sometimes certain ways of singing, some ancestral songs. It could be performances that raises the ancestral spirits. And whenever you're out and about and you have the opportunity to experience something like that, Nananom encourages you to stop and try to experience that and see what that brings out for you. And when you're in those moments, your goal is to let go of the judgment, let go of analyzing, let go of trying to name things, to stand there and be like, oh, this is this and this is that, and there's a beat here and there's number 2 beats, number 3, or this rhythm like trying to analyze what it is you're experiencing, to let go of that, and instead listen to yourself, right? So instead, let's ask yourself, be still and ask yourself, how does my body respond to this experience? How does my head respond to this experience without analyzing, without trying to compare it with something else? Because often with the conditioning that we have picked up in the world, especially the West, what is often happening is we are operating from a very limited way of looking at things, right? So the way that I can explain it is the way the modern structures are set up, and the way the lens through which the modern world is looking at things is very limited, in the sense that it's like looking at pictures or looking at static boxes versus the actual experience, which is like flowing, or is more fluid, is like flowing like water. So it's not static, it's like movie like feeling versus static pictures. So when you look at the world and the way that the conditioning in the world is like, look at things within and put them in specific boxes, right? Versus your actual experience is rich, more rich than that, is more flowy and moving, and there's so many different parts, infinite parts and variations of it, that if you allow yourself to feel that, you see how rich that is compared to the modern boxes slash standards slash structure within which most things are looked through, which you've picked up and conditioned yourself to. And so you a lot of times are looking at yourself through those static boxes. But it's more than that, right? It's more than that, and there's more in you. Like they say in Star Wars, the force is strong in you, so you are able to feel beyond the static boxes. You're able to feel what's happening, more so what's happening than just some structures. So that's the message that Nananom bring to you, is listen to yourself, right? Listen to yourself in moments, and all the moments that you find yourself in, to ask yourself the questions, how does my body respond to this? Versus, how does this experience fit into the structures that I know, the systems that I know, because they're limited. And once you begin to see yourself embodying the flow that is your life, your ancestral spirits, then you understand why your mind works the way that it does. You understand why you have such a busy mind. You understand why you can't just focus on one thing at a time. You're constantly shifting from one thing to, you're taking it a lot. There's a lot that you're taking in the environment, and so it's difficult for you to just look at one thing and stick with one thing, because you're moving through all these varieties of ways of being. So allow yourself to get in touch with your ancestral spirits, and don't be afraid, because it is part of you, and it doesn't eliminate any of your foundations that you've come to rely on and depend on. Now, at some point in your life, if you feel like what you've been in touch with is heavier and more rich than what your foundations have been, then you make the decision to go the direction that you do. But you don't have to get rid of anything that is part of you up to this point. You don't. What you need is just to tap into yourself, to experience your own ancestral spirits because they're in you. That's the message that Nananom want to bring to you. That's the journey that you're on. You're on a journey to really get in touch with who you are deep down, with your ancestral spirits, which are in you. They're nothing that is foreign to you. You think it's foreign because you haven't paid the attention that you can to yourself to reveal those energies and those spirits that are actually a part of you. And once you're able to tap in, you see how things make sense. You see how your worldview opens up and gets bigger and richer. And you're more joyful because you've tapped into the deepest part of you, which informs a lot of what you do. Things just fall in place. So allow yourself, when you find yourself in those experiences, to embody, to experience the activities, whatever's in your environment fully. When you're in ancestral spaces that are doing dances, singing, drumming, many different ways of stirring up the energies, so to speak. Allow yourself, even if it is just being with people who are on the same wavelength as you. So to be sure, tapping into ancestral spirits, you don't always just need these special circumstances or special environment to tap in. It helps, and it's like a catalyst. It speeds up the process. But in your day-to-day activity and all the things that you do, those things are opportunities for you to tap in also. So just to remember that in every moment that you're in is an opportunity for you to tap into your own spirits, your ancestral spirits. And that's where a lot of your power comes from. That's where a lot of your magic comes from. A lot of times we operate in unconscious, or not really thinking about, or not really being aware. Is awareness, being present with what is happening in our lives. But even in those moments, we're still able to show some of our magic, right? We're still able to show some of our magic. But imagine tapping into your spirit fully, and you'll see the amazing, the just fantastic, beyond fantastic magic that can come out of you. More of what's already coming out of you. So that's the message that you have today, and that's the journey that you're on. I'm Nananom, and I'm also known as the Ahooto Whisperer, because I am here to nurture your Ahooto, which is your personal freedom, your peace, your joy, your contentment, your inner freedom, which comes from tapping into your spirit. Because it is time for you to walk in your Ahooto. And it's because it's the only way that you can tap into yourself. It's the only way that you can live joyfully. It's the only way that you can express yourself fully and be able to share your gifts fully, be able to change the world, shift paradigms. That is the only way. And you're not the only one on this journey. You're not alone on this journey. A lot of us are on this journey in really unveiling, peeling back all the conditioning, not necessarily getting rid of it, but peeling back to see the core, what's inside, and using that to guide our ways. That's the journey that we're all on. And there's a community that you can join. Get the link from the description. Medaase.